Hello and welcome to the short Vort on Parshas Vayeitze. There's a well-known concept of Maasei Avos LaBonim, that the acts and actions that the Avos, Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov experience will become an omen for the Bnei Yisrael in the future. That in some way, in some sense, they will experience some type of parallel development. Looking through the Parsha, one of the languages that stood out to me that was obvious, that I had heard it before, it says, "Vayugat the Lavan bayom hashlishi ki varach Yaakov." Yaakov was fleeing, and it was told on the third day to Lavan that Yaakov was fleeing. This reminded me of the Bnei Yisrael when they left Egypt. It was like 3 days trip they went, and then it was told to Paro, "Vayugat the Melech Mitzrayim ki varach ha'am." It was told to the king of Egypt that the Jews had fled. So you had the language of varach and ki yugad, and it was also 3 days. So that seems to be an easy example to notice Maasei Avos LaBonim, and didn't happen too far in the distant future of the history of the Jews. But I was wondering, where did the following thing happen? Lavan he was a big thief. He constantly changed the employment terms with Yaakov Avinu, who was a shepherd of his flocks. He would first tell him, "You get all the speckled ones," so that all the animals that were born speckled. After that, Lavan will come back, "No, that's not what I meant. I want you to get the ringed one." So every single animal that came after that was ringed. So Lavan will come back and say, no, that's not what I wanted. He would keep on changing the terms and lying to Yaakov Avinu. Finally, when Yaakov had enough, they made a final settlement agreement. And to show out Yaakov's honesty, Yaakov said, "Here, everything that is ringed, speckled, and checkered, take it out of this flock. You take it, you go 3 days away, be far away, leave only the pure white animals. Any animal that's born, that's ringed, speckled, or checkered after that, that's mine, Yaakov's to keep." So that was the deal they went through. What did Yaakov Avinu do? Yaakov, according to the living Torah, he set up wands and he peeled them near the watering troughs where the flocks came to drink, facing the animal, and faced the animals. It was then that when they came to drink, that they usually mated, and the animals mated in the presence of the wands, and the young that they bore were ringed, speckled, and checkered, which is actually the Art Scroll language. I changed that from the living Torah language. And once again, so the Rashi there says that on the words in the Chumash, that Yaakov had a dream that an angel came and said, "I saw what happened, how Lavan was treating you improperly." And the Midrash Rabbah says in that the Malach went and he took from the ringed and the speckled and the checkered from the sons of Lavan, and they brought it over to sons of Yaakov. So the result of all this was that Yaakov became wealthy, and he had slaves and many sheep and flocks, and all seemed to be good. So where is the Maasei Avos LaBonim? I think this is something that happened numerous times in the history of Jewish people, that the Jews were often facing restrictions, that the terms of their employment, that in the medieval times, they weren't allowed into certain professions. They were restricted to becoming the money lenders, because no one else could, because Gentiles would not lend interest from one to another. So the Jews became the go-betweens. As a result of this, the Jews were limited. They became merchants and peddlers. They became the bankers. They became very successful. We had Gimbels and Macy's and Saks. All these were Jewish merchants that they had been restricted from having other professions. So this is what they went into. They couldn't be the carpenters. They weren't allowed. So they succeeded in these professions. They became bankers and lawyers. And when we couldn't join the investment banks, we started Lehman Brothers and Goldman Sachs, and they became some of the best firms to be with, at least until Lehman went bankrupt. But still, we overcame that adversity. We did our hishtadlus. We found ways around the restrictions, and we were successful. So that's Maasei Avos LaBonim. However, I think that's something I heard this week on Torah Anytime from Rabbi Gabi Fried. He quoted his grandfather, who died at a young age, from 1959 or 1960. He told that the grandfather told Rabbi Fried's father the following on that Rashi that we discussed, that it says that after he put out the wands, Yaakov put out the wands in order to make the animals mate and think of certain things in order to get the checkered and the ringed and the speckled. So it says that what really happened was the Malachim came and moved it from the sons of Lavan to Yaakov's Yaakov's flock. It wasn't that Yaakov's effort succeeded just because they looked at the wand, boom, they're going to have the right type of babies. No, it was Siyata D'Shmaya, heavenly assistance from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And from that, the heavenly assistance, that's what we succeeded. We have to do the Hishtadlus, and God will be the one to provide. Not my handiwork, and but it's only from Hashem. Even in the modern state of Israel right now, we took a barren land and we made it become fertile. We made it successful in technologies and food, everything. So we see that Hashem provided us with the wherewithal, and that was Maasei Avos. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful Shabbos.